Here we go. Let's do this.
We've got one life, one shot. Who do you want to be? What do you want to do? Addicted to Betterment, a podcast to inspire us to keep going, to try something new, to dream, to think big, bigger, to overcome. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go.
Tommy, we're back. I'm so happy to be back here, ready for another coaching session. I got to confess a little bit. As I was getting ready for this coaching session, I feel all the emotions. Part of me is excited because every single time I leave one of these coaching sessions, I feel enriched. I feel empowered. I feel like a better human. I feel like a better father, a better husband, better professional, all those things. However, the process of getting to that, some of the questions, some of the self reflection, digging into some of my own stuff, that's never an easy or sometimes fun process. I had all the emotions as I'm getting ready for our coaching session today, but it's really good to be here. Thank you for taking on another coaching session with me. And then also, more importantly, thank you for letting me share with the world. Excited for our session today.
David, so great to be with you. And I just love your growth mindset. The fact that you are looking forward to the session is so important to me because I think the key thing is getting your mind right before you go into a learning session or a training session or a speaking session or leading, whatever it is. You got to get your mind in state. You got to get your body in state. I don't know about you, but I've got a couple of warm-ups before we got going this morning. I did my bands and a couple of other things to get me going. But I've also got to get my emotions in the right state. And if so, I can take so much more from the situation. And it's a reciprocal thing. You give me great state, I hope I give you great state. And that's part of your coaching process that we learn to do that with people we work with.
Yeah, thank you. Tommy, I want to ask, I was thinking, what is your goal for coaching me? So I have a goal that I hope to get out of coaching. And I hope to become a better father. I hope to become a higher performer in business. I hope to become a better husband and just holistically better in life. And that's why we have coaches. But as a coach, what is your goal for coaching me?
Yes, that is so important that as a coach, I have a goal for you. You give me in our discovery sessions, which we'll get into deeper today, some reasons to help you become the best that you can be. How can I help you maximize your potential in this state that we're in right now and the time that we're in and the things that we're trying to accomplish? But more important to me is a value I think that I hopefully bring to the coachees I work with. How can I help them become a self coach? How can I take the concepts that we talk about and apply them to myself? Because as a coach, the coach doesn't stay with you the rest of your life, maybe short term, maybe every now and then, as friends, as relations, as whatever. But I want you to be the best that you can be in coaches as a coach yourself as you work with all of those people you're already coaching. You just have not really realized I'm leading, I'm helping, but am I really using good coaching skills and techniques to help them become as good as they can be? How can they become excellent, elite in what they do?
I just signed up to become a better person. Now you're telling me I'm a coach.
I got to tell you, David, if you become a better person, you will automatically become a better coach.
Okay. You said something that really stuck with me in that when you were just talking about coaching ourselves. I can only speak from my own experience. I'm assuming I'm not alone in this, but often I'm the hardest person to coach. Coaching myself is the hardest coaching that I can do. Thank you for helping me with that. And I appreciate the take on it that your goal is we become better coaches in life, our friends, our family, but most importantly, ourselves, so that we're elevating our life by being able to self coach ourselves through challenges and issues. So I'm excited for this session today and ready to go.
I want to make sure you understand that when we start a coaching session, a couple of things really critical, and I like to go back to. I think that's so important. We need to get our thought processes on our wins. If I go into a session with you as a coach and I'm thinking about something negative that's happened in the day before or this morning, even things that go right, then I can't move as a coach to do the best job with you. So I always ask the question and get the mind going in the right direction. What's been your wins? What's been your positive things that's happened in both your business and your personal life since we were together?
That's a great question. Thank you for asking. My personal life, I just finished a couple week bucket list trip with my wife. Have you ever done a trip or traveled with just your best friend in the world where you're just hanging out with your best friend? And very much what it felt like for me, just a couple weeks in Spain, a bucket list thing that we put together. And so that was a big win for me for sure. Certainly had some great things professionally, I would say, and then some good moments with my kids as well. Being a parent is a big part of who I am, and that's certainly a roller coaster ride for all of those who are parents out there with me. There are moments where you feel like you're not qualified, and there are other moments where you feel like the luckiest guy on the planet, and certainly had all of that, but definitely some moments recently that have just been big wins.
I know that's been a great time for you. I want to share something that you as a coach can work with others as your coach. Take those great memories you just had of family, being with you, things that you've done and those wins, and plug them into your subconscious mind. Make them memories that you can pull back out and you can see it, and you can smell it, and you can taste it. It's such a powerful thing. And I got to say, a lot of people have memories back here in their subconscious mind that they planted that are not positive. We want to capture those positives, capture those memories, and they will remind you of that. But if you put it into your subconscious mind, it is so critical that you're looking at the positive, the wins that you had, and that builds your confidence tremendously.
That's really good. Thank you for asking. Those were my wins that I have to share for sure.
Now I'm going to take you to another thing that I think is really important because we have a limited time together. We've been apart for a period of time. You shared your wins, you shared some things with you. One of the things that I always want to ask the question as a coach to the coachee is simply this: is there something on your mind today, David, that we maybe talked about, maybe some experiences you've had in between that you want to make sure that you surface that to me so that we can talk about that before our session is over today? I don't want you to go away when we get through with this session think he didn't talk about that at all. I wanted to share that. So I'm back again, helping you to stimulate your mind about something. Let's get that on the agenda.
Thank you for asking. I don't have anything top of mind at the moment, but as we go throughout the session, it's very possible things will pop up for sure.
Tell me more about that, Tommy. How do you see that? What's that something that can help me right now? It's got to be give and a take as we go through. Let's bounce back into the session that we want to really dig deep in. It's called the discovery part of coaching because it comes from the concept. Stephen Covey, one of my favorites of people that I've studied through the years with high performance habits, begin with the end in mind is one. We already have some things in mind that we will be covering today. So we've done that. Secondly, seek first to understand the discovery part of what we do so that I can understand you, but helps you to understand yourself because we will reflect on things. We will look back on things. We will ask and discuss topics that will make you reflect on yourself as well as helping the coach that's asking the question and helping you in the process. So the last thing that we want to talk about, it starts with a simple discovery question of who am I? And you did shared some things with me, but let's review those in your mind. And then we will ask why that's important and make sure that there's an understanding there. Okay, go ahead and talk to us, David, about how would you handle that question?
Yeah, I'm not going to pretend like that's not a challenging question to answer. Who am I? There's a lot of versions of that, and I'll share with you what I landed on. I am a grateful, passionate human. I'm a fully engaged husband. I'm a dedicated father, a relentless pursuer of growth and self development. I love to have fun in every single area of my life. I love people. I have big aspirations, and I have a high drive to achieve them. That's who I am, Tommy.
Okay. That's so great that you thought through that process because a lot of people, when I asked that question, and even when I was first asked that many years ago, first things that, and I was a high school football coach. So that was my identity. The one that was helping me in that period of time, which was a coach or mentor, said, you're more than that. You are that, but where's your priorities here? So I've changed that while my identity has moved so that I have other things more in a priority order because most people, when they're asked that question, will immediately give, this is my work. This is what I do. This is my career. So to help a person see that I'm more than that is really critical. That's a part of us, no question about that. But you've done a great job in seeing and bringing out who really am I rather than just my career. I love those. Your family, your growth, your fun. You have a diverse, who am I? Coming from an athletic coaching background, I asked that early in a coaching career with an athlete, and they tells me, I'm a football player. I'm a right tackle on the Zionsville football team. Yes, you are. And you're a good one. But who else are you? Are you a son of someone, mom, dad, who? Are you a sibling? Are you a student? Are you involved in leadership activities? So I want them to get a bigger picture of who they are at a very young age that they can build on. So it's a very critical part of the discovery questions.
I'm curious to hear your thoughts on this. Why is it as a society and a culture, when presented with that question, it's so easy for us to fall back to what we do versus who we are? And that seems to be the first reaction of most people. Why is that so easy for us to do?
It is so easy because they have hit their focus on that. Who am I in the external life? Who am I in my business world? Who am I as sales? Who am I? An external approach to who am I rather than going what I like to call an inside approach. I'm more than that. This on the inside builds the outside. I think when you first see somebody, we look at them externally. We don't see the inside person. How am I growing on the inside is more important than how I'm growing on the outside. But we project to people very early with our presence the external. And if we focus on that too much, how well do I look? How well do I talk? How do I do? That's an external identity without thinking about what am I inside? The character and the development of the person on the inside is much more important than that on the outside. Because if I don't have it on the inside, I'll never reach my excellence and being as good as I can be on the outside. That's where our focus is. It's on the outside. We start out with that.
And I can't say that's always been a strength of mine, and I feel like I fell into the trap of thinking of my identity as what I did or what I achieved or those kinds of measures. It's the problem that you find, and maybe a big problem in our society today, that stuff is so fragile. So identify yourself as an owner of XYZ company or this athlete at this professional level, and this is who I am. That's a fleeting moment. It's a very small amount of our life, and so if that isn't going super well or disappears, suddenly we've lost our identity.
You're hitting on some major things there, David. I appreciate you sharing that because when we lose our identity, if my identity is all just wrapped up in my business, I'm the CEO and I lose my CEO status, I lose my identity. I'm not worthy. How do I get back? A lot of emotional problems are caused when we lose the identity we put so much of ourselves into. You make a good point there. Really, I appreciate bringing that out.
I have people in my professional life that I have a close up view of it. To your point exactly, they identified themselves in the role that they played in business. And that got changed and that is disappearing. And suddenly you can visually see them losing their identity and fighting to maintain in their mind their identity instead of what is the more healthy structural way is to identify ourselves by who we are as humans, as people, in our role in life versus our role in a career and that sort of thing. And it's this practice when you asked me the question on this document that you send me and I have to fill out, and the question was, who am I? I had to think about that for a minute. And it was a good reminder for me and a good opportunity to self reflect and recognize the importance of me and all of us in understanding and embracing who we are as people. And by doing that, it really changes our mental state. It can change our emotional state.
Absolutely. So that's kind of the beginning point because I got to know who I am. I use a series of questions around that. Then the why I am, who I am, why I am, why my identity is important, why I am here, which will lead into some more foundation steps that we'll go through today to build the why I am and to go into the why. The second thing is an assessment of myself. What are my strengths? What are those things that I do well? Let's get a couple of those for me that you shared as a reminder, and then we'll talk about why that's important.
If you're asking me to list my strengths, I would say one is to see the positive in people, the positive in situations, to love people unconditionally, to not focus on people's weaknesses. I think loving people is a strength. I think drive and energy and passion for life in general is a strength. I wake up every day. I just want to live life all in every single day. And sometimes maybe that's a fault, but generally I see it as a strength. And I think my passion for achievement, my passion to achieve goals and to push myself to be better, I would say, as a strength. And then I would say how much I take pride in being a great husband is a strength. And I would say the same as a father. Being a father often is much harder than being a husband, but both have their challenges. But I take pride in trying my best to be great at both.
A concept, and we'll get into this in our next question. Should you spend more time on your strengths? Or the next question, is there some shortcomings? Don't talk about weaknesses. It's a negative term. Now, here's another. I have a shortcoming in this area. That's an area I need to improve rather than I got a weakness here. So we're going to think from the strengths. We'll talk about that. You've given us some great ones. The next thing we want to think about, should you spend more time on your strengths or your shortcomings?
So my first gut reaction would be my strengths simply because I feel like I have a lot more opportunities for improvement and that would take a lot more work. That seems like an overwhelming task to work on those opportunities for growth. It's easy to list the strengths and it's fun to list the things you feel like you're strong in.
All right. Definitely, you're on the right track because so many people will take, I got to get these shortcomings, like weaknesses, I got to get them up because I can't be good unless I get them up. Everything in research tells us, particularly in athletic and the business world, strengthen your strengths, make your strengths stronger. They're going to give you more of an impact in your interaction with everybody else. That doesn't mean we to forget about our shortcomings, but I can work on my shortcomings the rest of my life and will probably never get them up to average. So I want to know what they are. And that's our next discussion question. In the coaching process, I spend my time on my strengths. And in the business world, it's so critical. If I am really good at one thing and I spend all my time doing on something I don't enjoy, I'm not very good at, I'm not going to grow. So I've either got in the business concept, I've either got to spend my time on my strengths and get help on those things that I need to be challenged on and to make stronger so they don't hold me back, but I can continue to move forward. It's a kind of an interesting concept. I see it a lot as a coach in the athletic world. Oh, I got to go down and work on this today. What are you doing well? Have you worked on that? Always start on what you do well on the practice field, not on what you can't do. I want you to see that as a self coach. How do you use that? And then I want to move to the second part, which is important. And I just list that on your handout. What are the opportunities for your growth? What are those areas that you see you'd like to shore up? Share with me some things you want to make better.
Absolutely. While I list as my drive and passion for being a great father, I feel like that's something I could constantly work on until my kids are older and just consistently get better. There's no playbook or no instruction manual that comes with being a parent. And so, certainly an area that I'm always looking to sharpen and get better at. I would say more consistent in fitness regimen. I would say more consistent and productive in business just to maintain better business mindset, better business habits in my career. Those are some that come to mind right off the bat. I think those are the areas. Be better with money, know how to manage, invest money even better. As I think of what's the opportunities for improvement, I look at my life wheel.
You've given me a good 3 to 4 things that we work on. The first one, you mentioned that parenthood. You want to be the best dad that you could be. That's important. And we'll talk about a topic that I love to talk about is developing champions. As a parent, I can think of how do I develop champions? That's champions in all areas of their life, academic, relationships, spiritual, the whole process. So I can help in that juvenile part of developing. So you give me some things there that we can really zero in. Now we'll take those macro areas that you want to improve on, and we will move them into micro, which are action steps that we can take. But the next thing that I put in our foundation is something that's very important. I want to know here, really a key area. What is passion to you? And what are those things that you're really passionate? I use interchangeably the word desire. What's my desire? What is my passion? Share with me your passions because it's important as a coach that I can help to build around those passions to help you to become even more passionate and move that into areas like your vision, areas like your life purpose, business purposes, missions, that sort of thing. So talk to me about passions. We'll talk about why that's important.
Yeah. I want to make sure I understand the question really well. So when you ask, what are my passions? I'm assuming you're not asking, do I love the Colts or am I passionate about the Yankees or Tiger Woods? What is it exactly that you're looking for me to self analyze about my passions?
Let me share that in two ways to help you with that. I want to just share my passion with you so that you have an understanding for what it is we talk about. The passion is a desire that I have, something that is a core passion. Now, you mentioned the Colts. That's a passion. I love to watch them. I watch them on Sunday, but that's not a core passion with a lot of folks. Passion and desire is the beginning of any achievement. Anything that I've got to accomplish, if I don't have somewhat of a passion for that, I'm not going to achieve it. So it's those things that are very important to me. And I tie those into my value system. My core passions are tied to my value system, the most important things to me. For me, my passions are built around my value system of faith. I want to do everything I can to become as good as I can be in my spiritual life. That's a passion. The next one is my family. That's a passion. Can I build my relationships with my spouse, my kids, my grandkids, my great grandkids, and then my friends also out in that sphere? The next thing, I have a passion for learning. I'm a continual reader. I'm a keen listener. At my age, 86, I haven't quit learning. That's a passion. And my major passion right now is to make a difference and impact in the lives of others by being as good as I can be and sharing those kind of things with them. That is a core passion. That's at my heart. Now, you want to think back on a couple of areas there that you're really passionate about. And I already know some of them because I've already know you pretty well.
I can answer those. So I'm really passionate about self development and growth. I'm passionate about the law of attraction and being very strong minded. I'm passionate about manhood and what that looks like, and my fellow men on this journey with me that are a spouse or a father or all the areas, all the hats that we wear. I'm passionate about impact. I think my core value and the core thing that drives me professionally is I'm passionate about seeing the people around me celebrate wins, get better, improve, elevate, all those things. So, at the core of who I am, I feel like if I'm leaving a business or a situation or the world around me a better place at the end of the day, if I have made someone or someone's business or someone's life or an individual better, I've made something better. That's my passion.
Those are very powerful passions and desires that you have. And I love you started out with self development. You have a growth mindset. You have more potential than you're using.
Tommy, I think the reason I'm so passionate about that is I had so much growth to do.
We all have a lot of growing, but the self development, and it starts with your own mindset. That leads to these other things, the mindset you talked about. Certainly, that how do I impact other people is a passion. I want to be able to do that even better, and that leads to the book that Jack and I wrote, to Become Excellence in those areas. Well, those are steps that we'll use. Now we've touched on now. Part of the foundation is going from this concept that we talked about: the who am I, why am I, what is my sense of passion? The next step in building this concept of foundation to build myself on is the one that we want to talk about right now. And it's very similar to the passion.
Hey, Tommy, I have a quick question for you. I'm wondering because I know that question, what are your passions? Sounds so elementary. But if you was to ask someone that and their first thought is, I don't really know. I really don't know. I don't know. I don't know what I'm passionate about because I believe there's a lot of people living this life and that are just going through the motions and they're just get up and check the box and they go to work and they check the box and they come home and they have the time in the evening and they get lost mindlessly scrolling social media or watching TV or whatever and they check that box and they go to bed and they get up and they just do it over and over, really just going through the motions of life and honestly really don't know what they really are passionate about. What's some advice? What's some words of wisdom or coaching you would give to someone who finds himself in that position? Who says, "Man, as I'm listening to this," just I know friends that if they were listening to this, they would just say, "I don't know. I'm passionate about the Tuesday night TV show that I watch that's on from 7 to 8, or I'm passionate about I don't know. So what's some words of wisdom you would give to that person?
Definitely. I think the key here as we approach that with a coachee is it, and you're exactly right. Some people I'm lukewarm. I'd say, listen, you have got in this case, you need to be intentional about taking some actions about some areas that you might could become passionate about. Go back to your childhood. What you love to do when you're 13, 14, 15. Do you like to hunt? That might be a passion. You like athletics? You may be missing that. You like to draw? You like music? Go back to some things in your early childhood that really got you excited about life, okay? And delve into the action, learn about them, read about them, whatever. Seek a mentor, seek a coach that can help you to find those different areas. Now, I have the opportunity and a real pleasure to coach some people that are looking at retirement. Sometimes they're looking for a new passion, right? Okay. And the thing that I like to talk about, you don't retire, you refire. Let's refire. Let's find that passion out there. So you got to try a few things. You got to get out there and take some action. Try it. Go study karate for 3 weeks. See if you like it. Get into it, right? And I think as a parent, we're back to the little bell thing we're doing here. Find things that stretch your children into new areas. Okay. They may have a passion for something they didn't even realize. But once you say, try it, you don't have to stay with it. Try it. Try it and see what happens. And I think it goes on into the business world. If you're working in a position, a job, a career which you do not have any passion, you may be good, but you'll never be great. You got to have that.
Man, Tommy, this is such good stuff. And my challenge today, if you're listening to this and you're like me, you find yourself that you're passionate, some things that you're passionate about, you're trying to figure out how to get better at them. Maybe when we talk about you're just checking the box in life or you're just checking the boxes and you don't know what that passion is. My challenge is figure it out. Find out what that is that lights that fire because we only have one shot at this life. We've only got one shot. And Tommy, you're an inspiration to me. You just said multiple times as we were talking that how passionate you are about the things that you are. And you're 86 and you're passionate about learning and reading and growing and getting better. And it's inspiring. And so thank you for sharing that with us. Friends, we have one shot at this life. Find your passion, find out, do the work, discover who you are. Really do the work. Ask yourself the questions. Who am I? Hopefully, if you're anything like me, some of the answers are uncomfortable and some of them are hard to find. Find those answers, find out who you are, be honest with yourself about who you are, discover your core values, find the things that light your fire, and pursue that.
So, you just listened to this episode. Now, join us in being addicted to Betterment. Please subscribe to the show, share with your friends, tag us, and please take a moment, leave a review. Yeah, we do want your stars, but we really want the feedback.